Welcome back to the SuperBike Italy YouTube channel. Today I find myself at Mugello during one of the stages of our SuperBike Italy track school to try a blast from the past. A means from the past that has literally made Ducati's history. I am referring to the 1199 Panigale S, which is quite a formidable machine. We mentioned the Ducati 1199 Panigale S, but as you can see from the livery, it's not just any 1199 S. It's the display bike, the symbol of Paraxai, a new brand of accessories made from solid materials and more. It caters to us enthusiasts who love those shiny trinkets for our bike, providing a wide range of options and high-quality craftsmanship. But in addition to those components on this bike, we also find a Terminion exhaust that makes a nice noise, as you have probably already heard from the intro, and also the dedicated mapping. So a means, let's say, typical of amateurs, of hardened racers, but that comes from now 11 years ago. A bike that with its single shell aluminum frame revolutionized the concept at the base of Ducati Supersport, even if here we still find the 90-degree V-twin, or better L, as Ducatisti like to say, in this case credited with 195 horses. We have a whole series of accessories that precisely try to combine aesthetics and functionality. For instance, we offer adjustable and micro-adjustable brake and clutch levers, ideal for racing. We also provide a remote control for adjusting the distance of the brake lever, enabling adjustments during intense fights. Additionally, our product range includes hydraulic fluid tanks for the front and rear brakes, along with a filler cap for easy maintenance. Semi-handlebar engine protections that are even more open than the already beautiful, comfortable, and modern ones of the 1199 Panigale S. And then below, I should have mentioned it before, but let's say the interruption has slightly upset me at a mnemonic level. Complete exhaust with a beautiful Terminioni logo that takes us back to the golden age of Ducati's twin-cylinder engines and mapping. This means that the 195 horsepower that Ducati declared for the 1199 Panigale S, in this case, are probably even more. And it is precisely from the engine that I would like to start describing what you feel when riding this Panigale, this first Ducati Panigale in history, because the sensations compared to contemporary motorcycles really take you to another dimension. The exhilarating power, precise handling, and immersive riding experience make the Panigale a true masterpiece of engineering and design. There is a brutality, there is a quantity of vibrations, of information that comes to you from the motorcycle that actually does nothing to make your life easier and to put you at ease while you dance through the curves of the road, experiencing the exhilaration and thrill that only a motorcycle can provide. No, once you're on the saddle, turn the key, put it in first gear, and give it a little gas, it starts hitting you like Mike Tyson. Tyson in his prime, or probably if he could, he would even bite your ear off like Mike did with poor Holyfield, similar to the infamous incident. But this is another matter, because luckily the 1199 Panigale does not have teeth, so it cannot bite you, but at least attempts, as I mentioned, to strike you and actually the initial laps. But I would also say the initial rounds on a motorcycle of this kind, on a twin-cylinder superbike, to the utmost degree mean attempting to give it respect, to become familiar with it, to understand exactly what you need to do to make the most of it. Because let's be clear, it is still a bike capable of achieving very respectable lap times, even though it should be noted that in terms of straight-line performance, it is not on par with the Ducati V4 four-cylinder bikes. R1 2015, 2016, GSX-R 2019. These are the ones I met here on the Strait of Mugello, struggles to keep up. Let's say that you can barely keep up with the bikes prepared with more modern and fitter engines. But this does not prevent you from going really fast. But the beauty here are the sensations that I was telling you about before that initially scare you. Okay, let's make one thing clear, not as much as the subsequent 1299 Panigale, which I remember as one of the most terrifying and difficult bikes to master in history. But in any case, here the sensations are strong. You have to gather courage to really tame it, because here, unlike the more contemporary super sport bikes that I am used to driving these days, some small things are missing. Cute and adorable electronic gadgets that greatly simplify and enhance everyday life in remarkable ways. One of the things that would be perfect here is the anti-wheelie. Every time you come out of a curve and try to open the throttle in second or even third gear, the 1199 Panigale tends to lift up, and it's up to you. That you have to operate the gas or have the courage to continue floating with the front wheel a span from the ground, or use, if you have particular malice like real pilots, the rear brake to make the wheelie decrease. But in addition to popping, shaking and pumping, the bike is compact with truly aggressive geometries and a lot of torque in the mid-high range, which means real explosions every time you come out of the corners, and the sensory overwhelm lasts until you reach the next braking point. Although it may not be the fastest bike on the track, it is definitely one that provides you with more excitement when you accelerate. However, once you reach the braking point, it must be said, you encounter the driving phase that I found most similar and perfectly on par with the super sports cars of recent years, because the ABS is well calibrated. In track mode, it is impossible to feel its intervention, and the braking power is really strong. The feeling is like having a top-of-the-range Brembo system. The only thing missing today would be the Stilema calipers instead of the M50s, which are still great calipers that still provide incredible deceleration, which I have exploited to some extent, but not completely from one point of view, and too much from another point of view, to save myself from my own wrong braking. Another electronic gadget that I mentioned earlier, which is missing here, is the downshift bleeper. Now, some of you, if you've never tried it or only use it on the road, will think how the absence of a bleeper can impact downshifting if there's an E-gear shift to go up. All the difference in the world, because braking without the bleeper means having to readopt all the necessary automatisms to shift gears that significantly complicate life when going from 290 km/h to 80-90 km/h to enter San Donato down at the end of the straight, and then you have to pull the lever, do the double with the gas while holding the clutch, release the clutch properly to avoid destabilizing the rear. In summary, there are numerous additional tasks to be done, which overwhelmed me, and I couldn't completely recover from the consequences of a few mistakes, resulting in my braking being quite messy. Occasionally, I would brake slightly earlier to ensure proper execution, while at other times I would make a gear shift mistake and have to apply the brakes more than necessary for correction. However, this is a limitation of mine as a non-pilot, and in a certain sense, the morality that one encounters when driving such an object in the present day, after a few years have passed. Up until this point, and perhaps even a few years beyond, super sport motorcycles were partially engineered for sheer performance like they are today, but with a greater emphasis on catering to pilots rather than us ordinary individuals. Nevertheless, in the present day, a contemporary race replica is able to deliver even greater performance with a substantially enhanced level of accessibility. I think, to stay with Ducati, about the 2022 Ducati Panigale V4S that I tried, you can find the video here on the SuperBike Italia YouTube channel, and it definitely goes faster, no doubt. And it's so much easier that the lower the level of the rider, the more likely the lap times will decrease proportionally, so the pace becomes faster, and also from a certain point of view, the pleasure of riding. In spite of the strong sensations, which are evidently in favor of this brutal track machine that has undoubtedly shaken my internal organs to some extent, it served as a reminder of just how essential it is to be equipped with menicoli in order to properly harness the power of a superbike. Furthermore, it evoked a multitude of memories that I will carry with me, especially when I resume evaluating, so to speak, the race replicas of today on a daily basis in a more conventional manner. Well, Smanatoni, from this test, that more than a test has been a dive into the past, thanks to the Parasite symbol bike that, as I said before, gave me a lot of emotions, even if not much speed in terms of lap time is really all as always. I invite you to use the comments below to ask for explanations about the sensations I felt, about any detail that comes to mind, even, I don't know, about the Parasite accessories, about the slick Michelin tires I used today to have fun here among the curbs of Mugello. Obviously, to like the video if you liked it and to subscribe if you haven't already. I have nothing else to do, as every time at the end of the video I ask you for an appointment for the next video here on the SuperBike Italy YouTube channel that we will obviously do with the throttle.